Hi, my name is Andrew Towers, and today we will be looking at setting up and using a Gmail account. Gmail is Google's email service and is used by billions of people. This will be part one of two in a shortened series on Google and its services. I will also have videos on Yahoo and Hotmail, now Outlook, which are other competing email services. Please watch part two if you're interested in what comes with a Gmail account. But continue to watch this video if you want to learn about Gmail and setting up a Gmail account. Okay, first things first, if you haven't already created one, let's walk through creating a Gmail account. Okay, so you're going to go to google.com, right? I accidentally didn't type that in right, but here you go, google.com, and you're going to see this large blue sign in button, okay, if you don't already have an account. If you already have an account, then you aren't going to see that, and you're going to see something that looks more like this. Okay, so you can see this is what it looks like if you already have one. It's going to be that blue, or well, not necessarily blue, but it's going to be a circular icon with, you know, a letter if you haven't set an icon specifically, or maybe it has a picture or something else. But if you don't have an account at all, it's going to look like this. So I'm going to go ahead and click sign in. Okay. And we don't already have an account. So I'm going to go ahead and click create account. Okay. For myself. Okay. So now, sorry for that. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in my, relatively personal information. Here's first name, last name. Now I'm going to come up with a username. Don't really care what this is called. Name it that. I have no idea. But in a real, say I was making this for real, you're gonna want to name it something identifiable. Maybe I'd call it, 8 Towers, or something like that, if that's available. Now I don't think 8 Towers would be, so I'll go ahead and try that out. I don't think it is. Yeah, it's already taken. So as you can see, 8 Towers 526. I'll put a few more letters on or numbers on just so that in the future, if somebody really wanted 8 Towers 526, they can have it, but you get the idea. So I'm going to go ahead and copy a random password, right? Okay. Now for passwords, two things. When it says in this confirm box, you're going to want to make sure that's the same thing as this box. This and this are the same thing. And then the second thing about that is that you should have, somewhere you're keeping these, right? Be it a piece of paper, a password manager online, just somewhere that you know what it is, you know where it is, and you can find it easily. Okay, it's gonna be really useful. It's really useful for me, and I'm sure it's gonna be really useful for you if you don't already, and I'm sure you do. But just keep track of your passwords. Don't lose them. It's important. It's one of the weird modern things. But okay, so password. I'm gonna confirm that. Now I think, it's going to ask me for my phone number. Now for you, it's probably not going to ask you for your phone number. If it does, then, oh well, is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and blank out the screen real quick, put in my phone number. And it's going to send me a verification code. Yeah, there it goes. It's very quick. This is a very simple process. Now you do have the option. So like, let's say you have you put in a home phone, not a cell phone. You can have it call you with your verification code, right? It's a 6-digit number, and you can have it call you and tell you that over the phone, which is pretty nice. Okay, so I've gone ahead. As you can see, the phone number is optional. It had me verify that because I've registered multiple Gmails today. And it's, it's not sure if I'm a real person, so it just wants to make sure. But attaching a phone number to your account is entirely optional. Okay. Now, same with recovery email. See, both of those are recovery devices, right? You attach an email you already have to it, and now it's, in case something goes wrong, it's right there. It can bring it back for you, which is pretty nice. But it'll send you a number or whatever so that you can confirm, and it will send you a preset, and then it will let you into your account and maybe give you like a password reset, which is pretty nice. But let's go ahead my birthday, put in the, I'm not going to put my real birthday in. You know, this is just a demonstration. So sure, I was born, I don't know. Put in my gender. It's going to ask, you know, you can get this if you want to know, you know, why do we get this information? They're an advertising company. This is how they make money, you know. It is what it is. In here, in this screen, the privacy and terms screen, right? You get to decide what you want to do as far as data. Scrolling down here, you know, you have a couple options with these 3 prompts down here. So, you know, web and app activity, right? You can decide to save it or not save it. I don't really care. This isn't a real thing that I'm creating. You know, spend some time, think about it if you're actually creating one. But in this case, I'm not, this isn't real. This is just a demonstration. Add personalization. Now this is something that I would turn off, right? Because basically what this means is, you know, Google will remember what you've Googled. You know, they're their own verb. It's a pretty impressive thing, but it will remember what you've Googled and then use that information, you know, what you've Googled to advertise back to you, right? So that's what happens when you know, like Facebook is a good example of it, right? You know, you were looking at, you know, dog food and now it's advertising dog collars, you know, on Facebook. And you're like, how's this happening? It's because of targeted advertising. So this is a pretty easy way to just turn that off. So go ahead and, you know, I highly recommend turning this off. YouTube history, they own YouTube. So if you want to save your YouTube history, if you don't really care, if you're not going to use YouTube, then just keep on moving. I'm going to go ahead and click I agree. I've now created this new account. As you can see, that blue sign in button no longer appears. It's the same thing as before. That's what I described. It is now a Google account, right? So you can see this. And now we're going to get to Gmail itself. This is the meat and potatoes, Gmail, okay? Gmail is accessible from google.com by clicking the word Gmail in the upper right hand corner. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And as you can see, this is what Gmail will look like. Along the left side, you're given options for your various inboxes. I'll go through each in more depth in a minute, along with options for Google Meets, this, and Google Hangouts, right here. As you can see, I have just one email. So this is the contents of the inbox that's currently selected, which is just inbox. Inbox is where everything goes, except for what gets filtered into these. Okay, so currently I have just one singular email from the Google community team. Okay, now above that you can see the search bar, and with the search bar you have a lot of options. You can see where it came from, who it was sent to, the subject, maybe added some words that you know from the email. Maybe it doesn't have something, I don't know, maybe it doesn't have a certain set of words, or a certain person. You know, that you could see, is the size greater than, you know, 50 megabytes? You know, maybe there's like maybe somebody sent you a video, like a video file, and you know that it's going to be in here, or maybe it's less than, because you don't want to find the ones with the video files. Lots and lots and lots of options as far as that, okay, as far as searching. But I'm getting off topic. Next, you have along the right side, you know, at the top, this is kind of what sticks around across the whole G Suite. And I'm going to get into this in the next video. But as you can see, there's support, right? Which is going to offer you updates, apparently, but mostly, you know, help and training. So if you're having any issues, if you need to know how to do something, you can find it here. And they have plenty of articles all about this. These are just the popular ones, apparently. But just all sorts of articles. You know, how to organize your emails, how to send emails, all this. There's a whole, I mean, you know, Gmail, Google just provides a lot of quality stuff. Okay, the next thing is going to be settings. So it's a little gear icon, okay? And when I clicked it, as you can see, it pulls out this whole menu right here. Offers you different types of density. You know, you can make it very small, so all your emails are going to be very small. compact and close together. Though, for the most part, I just stick with this. You know, you can change it to comfortable, which I think gives you more space than default. No, it actually doesn't. No, default is big, and for stuff with Drive, right? Drive integration, it's going to be very large. So that's kind of a nice thing to have. Okay, and then now, you can also go to see all settings. Okay, so if you want to change something, if you want to, for example, add a signature, this is going to show up later. But if you want to add a signature, you can go ahead and do it from here. Signature. I'm going to go ahead and create that. My signature is going to be Andrew Towers, student. That's it. I am Andrew Towers. I am a student. You know, and that's what I'm going to save. And now they go save it, right? You go ahead and save it down here. Okay. It doesn't autosave, so that's one possibly unfortunate thing is that settings do not autosave. However, once you've saved it, you can X out, you can forget about it, you can come back 5 years later and it's still going to be set. So even if the format's totally changed, still going to be there, which is kind of nice. Google Apps, this is across, again, this is one of those things, as I was saying before, this is across all of Google's stuff. You know, you can get the Google Finance from here. You want to know what's up and down? Well, right now, as of recording, today's date is 3/18/21, and Tesla is down 6.93%. I wouldn't want to be Elon Musk. But, you know, that's, you know, you can access a lot of stuff from here, right? And same with this, you know, you can change the other accounts. So if you had multiple accounts and you want to check between them, I mean, I do. I have my school account, I have my personal account, you know, I want to check between them, and I go into this menu right here, and you can switch them. Very nice. And Gmail doesn't change, but it changes what's in your Gmail, right? Okay. Now, you have, you know, now that let's focus back to the main inbox, okay? And as you can see, there are these three at the top: primary, social, and promotions, okay? And these are ads. They aren't actual emails, they're just ads. And same with this, not actual emails. But if I was to have actual emails here, you would know, because it would have it would have a number, right? It would show how many emails there currently are in promotions or in social. And those are, Google uses its, you know, machine learning technology to be able to determine what is a promotion, what is like something that you're just being sent from a friend, you know, what is phishing. So it actually has it will automatically detect spam right here, which is very nice. So it does a lot to try to protect you from, you know, all sorts of things. So as questionable morally Google is, they at least do try to do you a solid. Okay, now I think that's about it for this section. The compose screen will show up in the bottom right hand corner of the screen once you've clicked on the compose button, which is this big button in the upper left hand corner. Okay, and so it gives you a couple options. So you have the recipients list right here, okay, who you're sending it to, and to send it to somebody. So if you already have a bunch of contacts, if you've already, you know, sent somebody something, then you can just type their name, right? In this case, I haven't, right, and so that doesn't work that well. But here's an email that I've used before, right? It knows this email, and so I can just start typing it, and it will automatically start guessing, like so. Boom. It already knows with A, and then I'm probably going to type this. So I go ahead and put that in. I just hit enter, and it pulls up. Of course, you could also click on it. That would work too. Now, if you notice, there's CC and BCC. That came out a little weird, but BCC. Okay. CC is carbon copy, and BCC is blind carbon copy. Okay. And so if you want to copy someone on the email, right, but you don't want to like send the email to them, then you can carbon copy them, right? So basically, the only difference is they aren't they aren't going to show up on the list of formal recipients. You've sent it to them, and you can send it to 30 people. But like the original 2 or 1 that you sent it to, or 15 that you sent it to, it doesn't matter. We'll know that you sent it to the other 30 people. I don't know. I mean, there are professional applications for this, but there isn't much. I can't come up with much. And then blind carbon copy is basically the same thing, except in carbon copy, the person you're copying to you're sending the copy of the email to, they can see who all the email is actually being sent to, who the original recipients are, okay? But with a blind carbon copy, they have no idea, right? There are no recipients. They're just getting the text of the email from you, and they can see the subject, okay? So that's the difference. That's what the applications are. But that's what those 2 little buttons would be in that corner, okay? Now moving on to subject. Yeah, this is pretty self-explanatory. It is the subject. What are you going to write about? You put it here. It's relatively pretty simple. It should just be a couple words. You don't want to put your whole email here. You want to put your email down here, right? This again, as I just wrote, this is where the email belongs. But up in the subject, you could say, maybe I want to say email tips. I'm sending myself email tips, and this is where the email belongs, not in the subject line. Okay, and now that's kind of a nice thing. Now you can see this. It wants to guess that I am about to type line. So it just says a smart compose, right? I'm gonna go ahead and I know what it is, but I'm gonna hit got it. I understand it, but it is pretty nice. So I just hit tab, and boom, it automatically puts it in. It's pretty cool. Okay, so now that we're over here, we can go ahead and use all the very nice formatting features that we get along with this. So I can go ahead and I can bold this if I wanted to. I can bold it. Let's go through all of them. We have the font. So we're going to go ahead and highlight this. Add the font. But if you notice, so I'm gonna go ahead and change the font back. If I just, my cursor right now, you can see it's in the middle. It's in the middle of the thing, the sentence, but it will not change. Right? I've changed the font to Comic Sans. And it's not going to change. I'm going to change it to Comic Sans again. If I start typing, however, the font will change. Look at that. The font is now Comic Sans, but what was already there is not going to change. This is going to stay the same. Okay, but this font right here is going to change, which is that's the differentiating factor. Okay, and that's true for all of these. So again, like you change the text size, right? You make it huge, and nothing changed. I changed it to huge, nothing changed. But if I start typing now, this will be huge. It automatically changes, but this stuff doesn't. What was already there does not change. Okay. Now, if I want to put stuff in italics, or I want to bold it, it bolds, right? You have to have it highlighted, but it will bold. Okay. Same with italics. It italicizes. Now you can do multiple things at once. It can be both bolded and italicized, or I can underline just half the word. All sorts of stuff. And this is pretty consistent with like a basic word editor. That's basically all it is. It has numbered lists, it has bolded lists. You can change the indentation. Now this is slightly different than a word processor, because a word processor you just be able to hit tab, but this you have to really force it over you have to use the indent. It's kind of strange. It does the same thing. There's a use to it. So like if I just want to indent, this will be huge. It just indents. This will be huge. I can also put a strike through. Maybe I don't think it's going to be huge. And I want to say, oh, you have to remember, you have to turn it off. But okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is basically, it's a basic word editor. It does what you expect it to do. You can change all that stuff as appropriate and as is necessary. Okay. So we can, and so that's about it. Okay. Now, okay. So now starting this back up again, I'm going to go ahead and do like a 3, 2, 1 in a minute. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So, a few things. You, at the top of the email, you have the minimize, full screen, and save and close. Okay. Now, minimize and full screen are their own sort of thing. Minimize, it brings it down here, it pops it down. And you want to bring it back, you hit the minimize button again, it brings it back. It's still there. Yeah, it's all good. You want to full screen it, it pops it out. It makes it bigger. And it prioritizes it. You can't see the rest of your emails, but maybe you didn't want to. Maybe you really wanted to focus on this. There's an application to it. Okay, so I'm going to unminimize it. Okay, but let's say perhaps that you really think this email is pretty stupid. You're not interested in finishing it. So I'm just gonna save and close. We're done with this. So, and then I'm like, wait, but I didn't want to get rid of it, But you can bring it back. You can always bring it back. And here it is. That's the wrong one. But here it is, right? And it stays as a draft. It's always going to be a draft. But since you saved and closed it, it just went away, did the draft folder, and there it was. And you saved it back, and it's here again. And it's all restored. But perhaps, let's say, you're wanting to write more than one email at once. You've gone insane, and you want to write 10 emails. I don't know why you would want to do that all at the same time. It seems kind of horrible, but you could do it. You could write 10 emails at once. You could full screen one because you're really focused on new message number 4. But if you're not, you just clear them all. You can just delete these, right? They go away. I wrote a lot of them. There's a whole list, but since nothing was written in those, they aren't saved as draft, right? There's no reason to save them, and so they're not saved. Okay. Now let's go back to this. Okay, that's it. Now let's return to that original email. As you can see by hovering over the email, we have a few options. Okay, so we can there's the gray box, right? So we can select it with this. Gives us a lot of options up here. As you can guess, the selecting process, it's going to give you the ability to select a lot of emails at once, right? And so these are pretty general terms. You can delete them all. You can mark them all as spam, and you can archive them all, right? Or you can just do it for the one. So like the mark as spam feature isn't an option just for the single email. So you have to select it, and then you can mark as spam. I only have one email, but I can still mark the one email as spam. But if I want to mark 10 emails as spam, you can do that too, which is pretty nice. Now the next feature is starred, so I can star the email, okay? And it's going to show up in the starred folder. And now that's really for emails that you're going to come back to, okay? You read it, you reply to it, but you still think it's important enough that you might want to reference it in the future. So there is an application to it, okay? But as far as emails that you aren't going to come back to, that's what the mark as read feature is for. So I'm going to read it, and it's read, and it's going to show up as read. But let's say I pretty much can already guess what it's going to say, right? Andrew, finish setting up your new Google account. Well, I pretty much know that it's going to give me a few little tidbits of information, and I'm not necessarily going to refer to them ever again. So I'm going to mark it as read, and you can do that. And you can mark, like 100 emails all as read at once. So that's a pretty nice feature. Again, make sure you're not marking things as read that you actually want to read, but it's a nice differentiating thing because you can see it goes a darker gray than it was before. It's white now, and then when you mark it as red, it goes gray. The text goes from black to gray. It's much more understated. Okay, so other features, you also have archive. Now this is very similar to delete. So deleting the email will move it to the trash folder, right? And once it's deleted, it's not coming back, right? Or actually you can. Sorry, but once you empty trash, so I'm gonna go ahead and select this email, right? And I'm gonna hit delete forever. Now it's gone. It's never coming back. There's no undo button. It's gone. But once it's in trash and you hit delete forever, poof, gone. But if I just delete it, right? I delete it. I don't want to see it again. But then I'm like, oh darn it! I didn't mean to delete that one. I was trying to delete something else. I go into trash. I go ahead and say, you know what? I want to bring that back. Let's go ahead and I think I'm trying to remember what it would be. But I'm going to bring it back to inbox, right? I can just drag it back out. It's fine. It's saved and it's returned to inbox. Okay. So, and then you have another option. You can snooze the email. So snoozing the email is very nice. You've been notified of it once. So like, let's say you have Gmail on your phone, right? And you get a notification for this. And you're like, crap, I don't want to look at this right now. I can't be bothered with this. I'm gonna just remind me, show up, next week, Monday. I don't want to see this now. You can totally do that. It's really nice. It's really easy. It's just right there. You set a time. You can choose actually any date and time. I could say it literally next year. June 2022. I can show up on the 1st of June 2022 at 8:35 a.m. 34 and 30 seconds. And it's going to show up. It's literally going to send it back to me. And I brought it back, obviously, but if I wanted to, it could do that, which is pretty cool. Okay, we're getting near the end here, okay? Let's move on to categories. So you have, remembering we have primary, social promotions, all those original features, right? But let's go ahead and say that we want to add some of those. We want to add our own versions, right? We don't want social and promotions. We're not interested, but we want our own thing. We want to create our own label. We're gonna call it, maybe I'm a college student. So I'm gonna name it college, right? And so now under categories, it shows up under categories. Well, actually, no, it doesn't. Sorry, it's right here. It's tags. It's a tag called college, right? And so let's say I really think that this is related to college. So I can drag this, move it to college. And it's removed from my inbox, okay? But it shows up in college now. So now that it's in college, not much really changes, but it's here. But, maybe I think, I put that in the wrong place. Yeah, it gives me the option, move it to inbox. So actually, yeah, you can keep it in both locations at once, which is pretty cool. Okay, so now we've covered creating new things. You can also but I don't personally use these because I think you can pretty much just use inbox by itself. However, there are applications to it. Again, if I really was going to college, I'm not yet, but I will be. But if I was going to college, and let's say I use the same email for everything, maybe I'd want to have, personal, and maybe I'd want to have college, I'd have those separated, and I could drag my emails in there, and I could apply those tags. It's kind of a nice thing. So, look, I can label it as college, or I can unlabel it as college. I'll label as it's a forum, you know, and now it's going to show up, or actually social, right? This is now a social email, and it moved it from inbox. But you can drag them all around. You can drag them from one thing to the other. Everything's very drag friendly. If you have a, well, not like that, but like if you have a, you know, if you have a, oh, what do you call it, a tablet or a computer that relies on touch, this is a very, very nice way of doing it. Okay. And then the last thing that I'd like to cover. Okay, now that's it for this section. Sorry. Okay, so now we're moving on to the fourth and final thing. So this is going to be the right side, the calendar, keep, the tasks, and the contacts. Okay, so first of all, we're going to look at calendar. Now calendar, once it loads, takes a second. You know, it's going to welcome me, but it is what it says. It is what it says it is. You know, it's a very basic, you know, calendar system, right? As you know, you can create names. I'm going to jump it out, right? So this is Google Calendar. It's actually quite nice, quite useful. So over on this side, you can see I'm paging through the months. So let's say I have an event that's happening November 17th at 2:30 to. This is going to be a 12-hour long activity that starts at 2:30 a.m. and it ends at 2:30 p.m. Kind of strange. I'm not going to question it, but we're going to call it November 17th. Trip. I don't know what's going on. But we're going to like, wait, you know what? I'm going to call it leave for, I don't know, like UK trip or something, you know, November 22nd, no, you know, maybe I need to take an early flight to the United Kingdom. I don't know why, I'm not going to, but perhaps this can happen. So go ahead and save it, right? And now it's going to show up if I'm looking at, you know, it's going to show up in here, right? It's only showing events till, look for more. It's going to show up. There it is. Look at that. There's my event. And now I know from 2:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. it's going to show up right there. And you can also create events from here, right? I'm in Gmail. I notice, oh wow, I just got an email saying that August 31st, I need to be somewhere, right? So I can go ahead and say August 31st. What do we got going on August 31st? It is almost 4th of July. Except it's actually considerably past almost veteran. No, it's not Veterans Day. Anyways, but there's something going on August 31st. That's very important to you, you know, and so you can write here. You can add locations. You can add people who you know are going to be there. You can actually create a Google Meet link. You can actually share this to other people. You can share this event to other people and tell them to join Google Meet whenever this is. Kind of strange, but there's a lot of stuff with calendar. It's just a calendar. Let's be real. It's a very nice calendar, but it's just a calendar. Okay, so the next thing is keep. This is a notes app. I paused because to make a point. It's literally just a notes app. That's it. That's all it is. And delete it. I mean, you know, you can take notes here. It's nice. If you want to take notes, if you want to make a list, like, okay, I'm going to make a grocery list. I'm going to call this grocery list, you know. Right? And bacon, spaghetti, you know, and marmalade. You know, you can add them all, and well, maybe I went to the grocery. I can check it off. I did it. I got my bacon, spaghetti, and marmalade. Not even sure if I spelled marmalade right, but there you go. pretty much just a notes app. Okay, tasks. Tasks is like calendar and notes combined. Basically, it's you say, okay, I want to eat breakfast tomorrow. This is my only goal for tomorrow. Maybe I'm gonna eat dinner too. Lunch is overrated, but eating dinner and breakfast, that's what I want to do. But I ate my dinner, or I ate my breakfast, so I can mark it as complete. Wow. Ate my dinner, I can mark it as complete. That's it. It's just you put in what you need to do, and then you do it. So if you're if you need, I don't know, if you need some positive reinforcement and to say that I've done stuff, look at that. It's got a nice little animation. It's very nice, I guess. Okay, and then contacts. This is more like, okay, if you have an Android phone, if you have a Google powered phone, then you can sync your contacts from your phone onto here, onto Gmail, and you can attach emails to the phone numbers, right? So you can say, I know this person's email, I know this person's their phone number, I want it to be the same place, and so I can use contacts, right? And I have a whole screen for this. And so basically it's just a digital Rolodex. I mean, that's what it functions as. It's, you keep all this stuff together in a one concise, neat place. It's kind of nice. But that's basically it. That's all I have for today. To learn more about what you get with your Gmail account, watch part 2. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.